Very sick, throwing up, diarrhea, lethargic, horribly. Headache, pressure in my head. I would actually sleep in my vehicle.
Some scientists say that until more research is done on possible health effects, companies should stop building these turbines less than 2 kilometers away from where people work or live.
My family have been forced out of our home by intrusive sound waves proven by acoustician Steve Cooper to come from nearby wind turbines at Cape Bridgewater. Many others have had to abandon their homes. There is no compensation, just cruel denial. My husband and I live in a battered old bus. Our children have been unable to stay with us.
I sell real estate for a living. I've sold real estate in Garrett County for just under 12 years. Once they understood that the possibility of the wind turbines might exist there, they didn't have any further interest in that area. Two specific cases here in these deeds. One property sold through the fire sale 80% less than the fair market value, and in the second deed was a little over 50% less than the fair market values. These deeds reflect amendments that basically are set up to hold the wind companies harmless from noise issues, from view restrictions. These are the same nuisances that we hear the wind companies say that will never happen. So they're placing these amendments to a deed for something they say never occurs.
We're telling the community, oh, this is a fantastic facility. We're going to employ hundreds of people. It's going to create jobs for the area, opportunities for people, tourists. The wind companies come in to these small communities and they wine and dine the local officials, and they look at us as backwoodsy hayseeds, farmers who know nothing, who think they can schmooze us with all their fancy talk and, you know, and say everything's going to be fine. And it's
Robert McMurtry couldn't agree more. He's been following the very rapid wind energy expansion across the province.
There are lives being put in harm's way. There's no question in my mind about that.
McMurtry is the former Dean of Medicine at the University of Western Ontario and is currently an orthopedic consultant. For months now, he's been studying the medical reports of people who say the turbines are making them sick.
Apart from that, I just was called by another person today whose heart arrhythmia, something called atrial fibrillation, goes out of control when she's near the wind turbines.
But they did the test for the bats, they did the test for the birds, but I don't think they did any study for the humans. At the beginning, this is the room we had the major problem in.
Glenn Wilds is standing in what used to be his bedroom. You see, his family doesn't live here anymore. Wind turbines drove them out.
Well, we first started feeling it in the spring of 2008, but we didn't really know what was wrong with us. So we were feeling awful itchy in the house, major headaches, our hearts were really pounding.
Night after night after night without sleep, and you got so exhausted.
Just around the corner, Helen Forster runs off the symptoms she and her neighbors have been experiencing for well over a year now.
I have tinnitus and pressure in my ears and fatigue, heart palpitations, stress, anxiety.
So they'll really be making whoosh, whoosh sounds.
And a low-frequency noise you can only feel.
It's called infrasound, which is a vibration of the air that you can't hear.
One of the most telling features of it is that they prefer to sleep away from home.
Dr. Robert McMurtry treats and studies these patients. He says he's discovered nearly 4 in 10 people who live near wind farms get sick, most often when they live within 1,500 meters.
Has written the rules and regulations, and the government has accepted them without using a critical eye. This is a wind industry model, to maximize profit at the expense of the people that live near the wind farms. Okay, you've met a lot of these people today. These people have no reason to make up stories. When you have people having to go rent other homes or live in motels, that's refugee status.
At first, Ernie Marshall was all for the new wind farm going up near his home.
It sounded like a great idea.
But soon after the turbine started rolling, he says he started suffering a litany of health complaints.
I've had problems with my heart. I've had problems, ears. It traumatizes your whole body.
Same for Helen and Bill Fraser.
We were like, yeah, more green energy.
But they also say they developed odd symptoms.
Headaches, major headaches, not sleeping, aching, like terrible body aches.
In the rush to build wind farms, there are now voices of those who live in the shadows of these gigantic turbines, who say the constant noise, the flickering light, the low-frequency vibrations are making them sick, but that often no one believes them.
And everybody kept calling me a liar. Sit there for a week and listen to it and see what it does to your body.
Some researchers think there may be a problem.
Chickens, I can guarantee that when I've had a really bad night, I can come out here and I can go out to the hen house and there will be shellless eggs. The days when they're not so noisy, you can get rubber eggs with no calcium on the shell. And just misshapen and very misformed eggs so that they don't really hold together very well.
With the animals, especially the cattle, and after probably 3 months of full operation of the wind farm, those cattle that were timid actually became aggressive to the point that one actually knocked me to the ground. So those cattle had to be sent to market. With the sheep, we had a lot of birthing trouble. We had a lot of lamb deaths. It was about 40% loss.
We've got no bats anymore, and that happened pretty instantly. When the turbine started running, all the bats just disappeared. They all sort of ran away.
I'm all for alternate energies, but I'm beginning to feel that this one certainly isn't a way to go. Even putting them offshore, as they're doing in Denmark and other places in Europe, I'm not sure that that's the answer, because recently I read a study about it actually affects the marine life as well.
The rotor is then thrown out of balance and explodes into pieces. Jagged metal and fiberglass rain across the countryside, covering an area of over a half mile. Residents are grateful that no one is hurt.
Gulvet det gav bum. Og da han så kiggede ud af vinduet, så kunne han så se dele fra vindmøllen kom flyvende hen over taget.